Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Trigno. This is the last page of the Chapter 5 test review number 1. We've got just problems 17 through 20 left to go. And we're starting out with some more graphing. This time we're graphing a system of inequalities. So I'm going to get a couple of different colors here so that you can see what I'm doing. Just like on your quiz, if you wanted to use two different colors on your test, you're more than welcome to. That makes it a little more clear for you. Okay, I'm graphing again two different lines with shading because these are inequalities. So for this first one, I'm going to do this one in green. I would start at my my y-intercept, which is -1. And then my slope is 1/2, which means I'm going to go up 1 and over 2. Up 1 and over 2. Let's do that a couple of times. No equal bar here, so I am going to do a dotted line through these points. And this is greater than, so that means I am shading everything above the line. And do a nice thorough job shading so that when you do your second set of shading, the overlap is really clear. Okay, so there's my first equation. The second one I'm going to do in purple. And I hope those colors are, you might be able to tell the difference between them. I hope that you can tell. Now this is just y equals 4 if I'm graphing it as a line. So I want you to think about what kind of line that would be. This is where your x coordinates can be anything, but your y coordinates always have to be 4. This is just going to be a horizontal line through 4. So here's y equals 4. I do have an equal bar, so I'm going to have a solid line drawn here. And this is less than, so I'm shading everything below the line. Everything below the purple line. Okay. So your overlap section is this kind of triangle-shaped wedge in here. And again, especially if you're using just a pencil, I would probably go back and darken that in so it's real clear where your overlap is falling. Right in the middle there. Some of you did a really nice job using the colored pencils when you did this for your quiz with overlapping colors, so I certainly recommend that again. Okay, number 18 is asking you to show this on a number line. Remember the crazy stuff with the brackets, that's just set notation. That's just how we write this. What this is essentially asking us to do is shade all the x values that are somewhere between -3 and 5. So all you really have to pay attention to is what type of dot you're putting on each of those numbers. I don't have an equal bar next to the -3, so that's going to be an open circle. I do have an equal bar next to the 5, so that's going to be a closed circle. And then the way this is written, this is literally saying that you want to shade everything between those two numbers. So I'm just going to shade from one to the other. And that's it for that one. Now number 19 gets a little trickier. Number 19 is asking us to find an intersection. Remember, this symbol means intersection, which is the same as the word and. So this is where I'm going to put these two things, this bracket and this bracket, on the number line separately, and then I'm going to decide where they overlap. So this first one, I'm putting a closed dot on -1, a closed dot on +4, and shading everything in between. And again, I'm doing this kind of above the number line so that in a minute I can see my overlap and put my final answer on the number line itself. Okay. Now my second bracket says I just want to shade everything greater than 0. So that would be an open circle on 0 and shade everything all the way to the right with an arrow, because it keeps going if I want everything greater than 0. So the overlap falls between 0 and 4, and I'm just going to steal the endpoints off of these. So I'm going to do an open circle on 0, a closed circle on 4, and shade in between. Because everything between 0 and 4 are the numbers that would fit both this inequality and this inequality at the same time. That's what you're really trying to say here. Okay, so that's your answer to number 19. And then last one, number 20, solve this system. Again, substitution or elimination, it's up to you. I feel like I've done a lot of elimination on this packet, and this one's set up really nicely for substitution, so let's go ahead and do that. I have y equals by itself already, that's why I said it looks nice for substitution. I'm going to take that chunk and put it in place of y down here. So I'm going to get x minus 5, and then in parentheses, negative 3x plus 136. And that's going to equal negative 40. So now I have x. Here I'm distributing. Remember, this is a negative 5. So negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15x. Negative 5 times 136 is 680. And that would be negative 680 because that was a negative 5. Equals negative 40. I'm going to combine my x's, so I end up with 16x minus 680 equals negative 40. There's some larger numbers than probably what you're used to working with, but this is correct. Add 680 to each side. And I'm going to end up with 16x equals 640 divided by 16. And x equals, 40. Just going to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it should be 40. Yep. Okay, now if I plug that 40 back in up here, I have y equals negative 3 times 40 plus 136. That's negative 120 plus 136, which I believe comes out to be 16. So my final answer would be 40, comma, 16. Okay, that's it for Chapter 5. This is all the stuff that you will see on your chapter test, which is this week, Tuesday. So if you do have questions on this stuff, we will go over it in class on Monday. Have a great weekend.